Hello and welcome to Challenge Talk, part of the Geocache Talk Network. We broadcast live on the first Thursday of each month. Feel free to jump over to YouTube or Facebook to watch the broadcast live and join the wonderful and active chat room, or listen to the entire show on your favorite podcast player.
And in this episode, we'll be chatting about challenges. It's our 1-year anniversary. We want to talk about challenges, our community, what our community's doing in challenges, and we'll just talk about everything. We also have prizes to give away each show to our listeners. Between each show, be sure to email your challenge cache finds to challengetalkpodcast@gmail.com, and you could be a winner.
And later in the show, we also play our special game exclusively for our live audience, the Wheel of Challenges. So listen live, get your email app ready, and follow instructions when the time comes so you can have a chance at winning the grand prize, a 1-year membership, premium membership, to Project GC. We are your hosts, Emily and Geoff from Cache the Line, and first off, we want to make sure that you know about the Geocache Talk Right in the Rain promotion. From July 1st to August 3rd, you can get 20% off your entire order with the special code at checkout called Geocache21, Geocache 21, even on top of any other promotions that Right in the Rain has applied in your cart. The new on-the-go notebooks are perfect for smaller caches at just 3 3/8 by 2 inches in size, perfect for little micro caches.
And you can't beat Right in the Rain. Right in the Rain is the way to go.
Yeah.
In your caches.
And you can find more information about that at rightintherain.com/on-the-go-notebooks. On the go notebooks with dashes instead of spaces. So you can also email us any of your challenge caching questions, big or small, to challengetalkpodcast@gmail.com. And we love to hear from you, whatever your accomplishments are, your challenge caching, your milestones, all that stuff. We love to hear from you. And this is a very special episode.
It is.
Isn't it, Emily?
It's our 1-year anniversary of Challenge Talk. Yeah. So our 13th episode, because we're once a month. But yeah, it's been a great year. And we've got Jessie with us, the author of Geocaching Challenges, the book. The game within the game.
The game within the game.
Yes. So glad to have you, Jessie. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me on your special milestone episode. I'm very happy to be here.
Thanks.
Yeah. And we'll spend some time chatting about that book a little bit later as well. Because I don't know how many people are in chat who have the book or have read it, but there's a lot of stuff in there that can be helpful if you love challenges.
And Geoff, a little greeting for you in the chat. Happy Canada Day.
Forgot to say that. Happy Canada Day from north of the border. I'm the only Canadian here, except for maybe some people in chat.
Yeah.
We're getting a few comments, too, that your volume may be a little bit low for the listeners.
Okay, I will turn it up just a bit. I think something changed with my microphone. Anyway, okay, so we are back up. Okay, so we like to also highlight some of the statistics of challenge caches via Project GC every month, just to see how the whole challenge caching community is growing and hopefully never shrinking. And so since last month, as of late this evening, July 1st, we now have 6,482 active scripts. Those are the scripts that are handling all of the challenge checker algorithms, which is up another 127. And we have 36,901 unique challenges. Those are different parameter sets. So there could be multiple challenges all using the same script, just variations of values and properties. And that is up 256. So there's some new ideas. And we have 44,963 active tags, and that's the unique checkers by GC code. And that is up almost 400, up 385 since last month. So they're all going up. We have an increase of active challenge caches worldwide by the attribute, and that is at 31,485, up exactly 100 when I did the check.
Cool.
Yeah. So, and you can do that too if you are a premium member. You can do an advanced search and filter now for that challenge cache attribute, and you could restrict it to your region and then see how many challenge caches you need to find within your region. I don't know if you guys do that, but I do that all the time.
Can't say I do that all the time.
We mentioned
I like
that
to play
strategy
in Project GC as well, though. I can go down that rabbit hole and spend a lot of time on needless stats, and I try not to do that too often.
Yeah, and there's a couple other ones that
hole.
we're going to mention in a bit as well. And we mentioned the strategy before as well. If you are working on challenge caches and you qualify for one, but you haven't found it yet, then a neat little trick is to update the posted coordinate of that challenge cache. Even though the cache is at the posted coordinates, if you set the coordinates to the same value and save it, it shows up as adjusted coordinates, which means you get that little icon on the map that says the cache is at this new location, which is technically the same. But you can keep track of the challenge caches that are ready to be found because you've qualified for them by doing that. And it's a lot easier to look at a map and see where the challenge caches you can find are. So I love doing that.
Yeah, just that visual indicator to pay attention here. Don't forget this cache. You qualify.
So I don't know if either one of you do it, but also on Project GC, Geoff, you're a Project GC nerd, so you'll like this. I know you probably do it already, but there are a couple of things that you can put in your log, like not signed or and I forget the exact things, but it's brackets and then it's got things, and it'll show you on your challenge tab which ones you signed and which ones you've qualified for and everything else too. So Project GC is pretty nice what they'll do for challenges nowadays.
Yeah.
And we have in our chat pretty much an expert road tripper, just finding our way. I don't know how long you've been on the road. It's been a few weeks now, and you build trips from the challenge maps on Project GC. So tracking your eligibility for challenges and then going after all the challenges in a very strategic manner.
Oh yeah, it's great when you look at that.
It's a strategy.
Map. Yeah, and you just see lines of challenges. You can like visually put a route together of how to get all these challenges.
Yeah.
That's definitely one of the things to always plan for when you're on a road trip, is looking for those qualified challenges.
Or even if you're not qualified, just sign anyone.
Getting your name on the log.
You may be qualified one day, right?
Yeah, don't pass it up just because you're not qualified.
No, that's you'll regret that one.
Yes, you will.
Exactly that happened a number of years ago when I was in Seattle, and we went out for a rare and old cache, but along the road there were a whole bunch of challenge caches, and they were ridiculously difficult. I think at that point I qualified for maybe 1 or 2 out of, I think it was around 15 or something. We found them all, bookmarked them all, and then over the years, as time went on, slowly they got qualified. Log them as found.
And you know what? Unfortunately, I didn't quite buy into that a few years ago. I don't know how many years ago, but I didn't exactly see the value in it. And so I have, even in this one trail in Oregon, I skipped them because I thought, oh, I don't know. I just don't qualify. I'm not sure I buy into the whole sign the log. Yeah. Emily today wishes she had signed the log.
My favorite is the ones you say, I'll never qualify for that. If you cache long enough, you just might.
You just might, or you're going to get just close enough that you're going to be willing to finish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just sign the log.
It's just like once you start geocaching and you realize there's a cache at a really cool location that you had visited on a vacation 25 years ago. Now you wish you found that cache.
In multiple countries.
Now you wish.
Yes. I will never forget when I visited England, my GPS was North American map, had North American maps. I didn't think I could geocache in another continent, but that's not what that meant. It just meant there was no map. So I posed at platform 9 3/4, the setup at King's Cross Station, and that's a virtual, and I didn't get to claim it.
Oh
man.
I was a geocacher too. Oh my gosh, the regret. But anyways.
You're just too honest.
Yeah. I had a a very fingers crossed moment. I had been to Mexico before I started geocaching and made it to the top of one of the pyramids down there. And after I started caching, I went and looked and there's a virtual there. And all you basically got to do is answer a question, have a selfie there. I've got a selfie and I know the answer. I emailed the owner to ask if I could log it. I never got a response, but it would be awesome to be able to log that. But it was long before I started geocaching.
You'll just have to go back.
Yeah. So kind of skipped over as well. I put together nice little graphs of all of the Project GC stats that we've reported.
Yeah, you guys know us. We love stats. This does not surprise me.
So this first one isn't all that interesting, but the Project GC scripts, they have gone up pretty consistently over the past month, past year. They just keep increasing almost a straight line. So whatever it is, they are still writing them. But combining the other three, a little bit of a help now. So a little bit of an explanation. You can see the published, the lower number is the active challenge caches worldwide. So that's published, not archived. And then on top of that, if you include if you include archived caches, you have all of the unique challenges. So this is where, there might be one challenge idea that there's 20 caches worldwide that are identical to that. So that won't count here. These are all of the unique challenge ideas. And then that purple line, those are the active tags. And so those are the unique checkers. That, as mentioned, can include duplicate challenges. And I believe that stat that Project GC shows doesn't hide archived or old challenges. So I think that's of all time in their database. So just some interesting looks. There was a little bit of a dip around, I think that's winter, January, February. A little slow down there, but it's still consistently going up.
They're still going the right direction, though.
Right.
Yep. Well, if we get into some news items, there's a whole bunch that has happened over the past month. But the first one that we want to highlight, Jessie, you can probably discuss that a little bit because it was announced on Sunday on the Geocache Talk. If you weren't there for that show.
Yeah, so we the CFO and I hosted last weekend. It's only been a few days actually, but. We won't go into the big, long explanation behind it, but we wanted to come up with something that was obviously not an official challenge, but it's Geocache Talk Network, so that's basically official. There may not be a checker for it yet, but we want to come up with we call it a challenge, but just an idea to help people get back in the swing of things. A lot of people are clearing up. Canada's slowly behind it. Maybe they'll be out soon. I don't know. You'll see the graphic around, and am I supposed to say the name of it or not? I don't know. It's look at that. So
splotch on top.
Short version of it is GTN45. You may have already seen that hashtagged on social media and stuff. It's back on track is what we're talking about it. Real quickly, basically it's an honor system thing. Everybody does it on their own. This is just to help you really get charged back up again. But attend one event, hide 2 caches. Start 3 challenges, which means, and as everybody on this show obviously knows, identify them. You don't have to finish it in 45 days, but publicly identify them so that people hold you accountable to it. Stock 4 caches, so not your own, even though stock your own caches too, but stock 4 caches, solve 5 puzzles anywhere in the world, and find 6 fitness caches. This is the one that we've had the most questions about. The idea of this one is whatever level you are, push yourself a little bit. So if you're crazy Sodak Zach and you can hang off bridges, like we said, go do that. Push yourself to the level a little bit. If all you can do is get to an LPC, park a little further away, get to that LPC. Just push yourself a little bit to get active and moving again. That kind of gets the blood pumping. It gets you back on track. And that's the basics. I've already heard people and got messages from people how they're kind of one-upping it. They're putting their, +1 on it or whatever you want to call it. And nice. Instead of attending one event, they're going to try to host their own event. A lot of people have those community events still out there and they're able to host events now. Right. So they're going to do that. Hide 2 caches. really the kind of one up on that one was hide them of a type that you don't normally do, right? Like if you only hide traditionals, try a different type. And as we said Sunday, nobody has an excuse because we have a whole network of people that will help you hide any kind of cache you want. All you have to do is just reach out, and we can all help you do that. Start 3 challenges. Those can be of any level that you want. Obviously, if you're listening to this show, you know all about challenges, and you have many, many, many to choose from. So go and get 3 started. Stock 4 caches. It can either be our Planet Plus one was that one. You can get the little McDonald's toys or whatever dollar store toys you want to put in there, or make your own swag. Always better and always way more fun to come up on a cache that has like handmade swag in it. And
I still love signature items. Like I don't know what it is. I have to trade for a signature item.
I love it. I'll go.
I have a little bin of everything I've collected. Yeah, that's a signature item. Yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned it Sunday too, but I've got one of my favorite items that I've ever found. It's probably also one of the cheapest ones, as far as a keeper. But it's these little magnets with the little icons of the different, cache types. Yeah. It's somebody handmade with a little glass bubble thing on the top.
Oh yeah.
It's only like maybe that big. It's tiny. I have used it ever since I found it, and I love that thing. I don't know who put them in there. It wasn't the owner of the cache, I don't believe, but I haven't found them since. But they're just so neat. It probably cost 5 cents to make. But it was super cool, and we've kept them ever since. So
awesome.
Painted rocks. Somebody mentioned that. That's awesome. If you have the patience and the art skill to do that, and you'll leave that for somebody, you're really brightening somebody's day up when they find that. Mm-hmm. But basic challenge in the term of challenging yourself, not official Project GC challenge. But we wanted to put that out there and share it. Let other people know that you're doing it. If you're on social media, hashtag GTN45. And really get people's juices flowing again. And some of our poor neighbors to the north don't get to do as much stuff right now. So we want them to live vicariously through us. So get them motivated. But even if you're totally on lockdown, we wanted to make sure there's things in there like identifying challenges, solving puzzles, playing your next cache or whatever. There's a lot of things you can do to get back into the swing of things, even if you're in an unfortunate area that's a little more restricted right now. So hopefully that's something positive we added to the environment.
Yeah, we're all about the informal challenges here too. So it's wonderful.
And for the most part, above the border there, it's really just events and official gatherings that are fairly restricted. So, even if it's not an official event, you can still do some of these things.
Absolutely. Somebody mentioned if they're locked down, get on a Zoom event with your local people.
Yeah.
It's not an official event, but it doesn't matter. You still get to see other people and talk about geocaching and challenges and everything else. And it's supposed to be fun. Nobody's going to go behind you and grade you. You don't get a report card for this, right? This is just to get you going again and hopefully have fun. And when we know the whole world's open, maybe we'll throw some hard stuff in there later on. But for now, just get yourself going again in a safe, healthy way that can make you have fun. So,
yeah. And even just participating in something like this can be motivation. Like if you set your personal goals, you kind of have to push yourself. But if you know that you're participating with a bunch of people all trying to accomplish the same things, then you kind of want to do a little more, right?
Absolutely. I hope it helps people get charged up. I know some people are crazy all the time; they never need to be charged up again. But some of us, real life people, need a little boost every once in a while. So hopefully this will be a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to know, were you following me this last month? Because I've done a lot of that, except for events. And so now I got to go and do more.
There you go. Do them again. Hey, but you know what? You have to step it up, though. We have high expectations of you. You've got to do something very elevated.
I was hiding a geo tour. How do I step it up from that?
That trumps a lot of stuff. That counts pretty good. You'll have to hide.
That is not average.
No, that is not average. That's pretty next level right there. Yeah. That's something I've never done.
That's work.
That's a good challenge, and I hope people will do it and enjoy it, and just for what it's worth, you just do your best and have fun.
That's right.
We are also going to give away another extra little bonus for people who are here live. Didn't mention at the beginning, but we're going to give away a copy of Jessie's challenge book.
Yay.
This one right here. There we go.
And the way to do that, we're going to make use of this super special giveaway feature again. And if you are in chat, then if you want a copy of that book, post a comment with hashtag next level, and we'll do a draw at the end of the show. Next level. That's
and you only have to type that one time.
Yeah.
And you'll be
You don't get multiple by putting multiple times. It's the show's tagline, taking Geocache to a next level, but that's all good because he's going to do that with his stuff too. Okay, so moving on to another news item, we have an update to profile settings. We can now choose to put search results directly to the search map, and you can see that by going to your profile settings, and down at the bottom there is a new option to display the search results on the map. That just means that if you hit search, it'll move directly to the map view instead of the list view. I guess some people wanted that.
I don't think I want to use it that way, because if I go to a list view, I can then also go to the map view. I don't know how I go from map to list, but I haven't tried it, so maybe it's possible.
Yeah. And I tend to open the map in a separate tab as well. And
yes, exactly.
If it's a search that I use all the time, like where are my closest qualified challenges to find, then you can bookmark that map view URL as well, which is super helpful. Another news item, the official app can now search with favorite points. Yay!
Cool.
Hey, they are adding things to the official app.
Yes.
They're slowly adding things.
Right.
So yeah, and if you are on iOS with Cachely, then you'll know that there's a whole lot of search features and functionality there. But it's very good that the official app is adding a few more options, because a lot of people start geocaching with the official app and not
True.
paying a few bucks for
It's the way people learn about geocaching a lot these days. The pandemic geocachers find the app first.
And speaking of Cachely, the developer has created a brand new app for something that probably a lot of this current generation of geocachers haven't even heard of, and that's Waymarkly. If you have heard of Waymarks, they're kind of the old guard of virtual caches, in a sense. They are basically just waypoints that you go to and track that you visited them by posting a photo and marking it as you visited.
And the categories
really
are just endless. Bridges, water towers, anything you can think of.
Yeah. There are so many waymarks, and they made it into a separate database because it was just so cluttered. There's no proximity because it's all virtual. There's no physical containers. People can create these waymarks anywhere. They could be duplicates. It just got way too much to handle, and so it's a separate website, and they have now partnered to create Waymarkly as a mobile app. And from what I've seen, a lot of people downloaded the app. I think it's in Canada it's $5.99 or $6.99, I think, and people have. It'd be interesting to see the activity stats for waymarking.com since that app released.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I got it. It works just like Cachely.
Yeah. The interface, the design, I think the colors are different, and some of the functions. But I mean, if you know Cachely, you know Waymarkly.
Now that's the mobile app. The website is not like Cachely.
Right.
Just so we're clear. It's a little bit outdated currently, but I believe they're going to update that. Yeah.
Now, and it can be helpful because there are some times when, I don't know about you guys, but I have used waymarking to find either answers to puzzles, or there are some challenges that because it is official, I think even post-moratorium, you can use waymarking, not post-moratorium.
No, not post-moratorium, okay. But there are currently
just
49 challenges that have specifically waymarking in the title. There's probably more that include waymarks, but this, like, the title actually says waymarking
Right.
or waymark.
Because we have a few. We've got a couple of challenges in Ontario where you have to have logged something like 1,000 or 2,000 waymarks. And there's one for a specific cache owner, which includes having to have found a certain number of their waymarks as well. So they're mixed in for some of these old challenges. But I'm thankful that it's not in the new.
So do you think you guys will like concurrently waymark and geocache at the same time?
So I bought the app. I would have bought it anyway because Nick puts out awesome products, and I'm going to check it out. And also, I'm not going to not have a tool that you can use for geocaching. If there's a tool out there, I'm going to get it. So we opened it up and looked around town a little bit, and Christy and I we found some before for a challenge, like 500 or something for a challenge in the past. That's the only reason we found them. It's not my favorite thing, but we're going to Vegas this weekend to visit my daughter, and there's tons out there. So we're absolutely gonna go out and do a few waymarks or whatever. I doubt that it's gonna take over geocaching for me, but I also have changed my mind many times over the years of what I've gotten into, what aspects of the game. So I would never say I'll never go waymarking, but with the app like that, I'll use some because I'll probably check it too when I get to a cache, or especially if I go to like a benchmark. Those are all on there, or someplace cool.
Yeah.
I might as well check it and see if it's there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a really hard time doing 2 search activities at once. If it's not all on the same app, I completely forget about the one that I'm not primarily focused on.
You don't do the other app that shall not be named? The other game?
Yeah, that didn't last for me either. But maybe since it's official and if they update the website, maybe at some point they will let them be included in challenges and stuff again. And then it's great. Anything that can be used in a challenge, I'm going to do it.
Sure. Yeah, that changes everything.
Yeah, and I think we might have to make use of some waymarking for some challenges because Eric's here. He's just mentioned there's a challenge in his hometown to find 100 categories of waymarks.
Oh, so not just 100 waymarks.
Categories. That's kind of crazy.
I like it, though. That's really pushing you.
Good challenge for your listeners too. Challenge everybody by next month to go out and make their own waymark. You can't officially challenge anybody to do that, right? But you can unofficially say, go find one and make one. See how many can get added in a month.
Cool.
Like a legit one, right? Like don't do 4 more at the old McDonald's down the street. We don't need that, but find something cool and do it.
And we could verify them as well. If you've made one and it's like not within the guidelines of what we're saying, then we can tell. That's an interesting idea. There is also a lot of chatter about a relatively new grid that's shown up on Project GC for your stats, and it is under the challenge caching tab of your Project GC stats. So under that challenge tab, scrolling down to this little grid here, challenge difficulties. A lot of people are understandably slightly confused about what it's tracking, because if you have looked at the challenge checkers closely enough, in the corner there's a little skull, like a skull and crossbones. And I know I keep forgetting what that represents because those numbers seem to change. They don't really have anything, any direct correspondence to the other numbers in this square. So that's what the challenge difficulty is. So they've made a new grid of that stat because we love grids.
We do.
Where the challenge difficulty is mapped out. That challenge difficulty is a rating between 0 and 100, and it's based on a compilation of a number of different factors. A reasonable gauge about a challenge's difficulty is based on how many people are qualifying or not. So it's not like it's statistics of everybody in the world. They can really only, obviously, parse the statistics of people who are actively using Project GC, who are premium members and have their stats automatically updated. But it calculates that number between 0 and 100 based on the number of people tested and how many people qualify. But it also weighs differently where people live relative to that challenge. Because
Does it change?
That's the thing. It changes because as more people, I guess, start caching, or more people basically get their statistics actively updated in Project GC, that ratio of qualified to not qualified for every challenge is going to be constantly updated. So this grid, if you look at it one day, might have certain values in various spots, but then change on another. So it's not really something you can, well, it's not something you can write a challenge on.
Right.
Because you can easily
it might
unqualify.
fill and unfill and...
Mm-hmm.
That's a shame, because that would be a good challenge.
Don't get committed to your grid.
Yeah. And the other one thing you could do is basically make a personal challenge to try to get values in every square. And the hardest ones obviously would be like 0 and 1 to 99 and 100, because that's basically absolutely perfect. Everybody qualifies or nobody qualifies. But there's also one factor that is based on the number of people, the number of fines on it. There is a page that explains it on their wiki, which is at projectgc.com/w/challenge difficulty. And I mean, it could get a little technical, but they base about 80% of the people who find from the local region, and then they weigh it down to 40% for the country and then 30% for the world. And then they also weigh in the number of fines over the past year. So obviously there's going to be more people finding it from the local region than worldwide, which is why they weigh that local region higher. Mm-hmm. It's mathematical, it's complicated, but it's enough to know that number is always changing. So it's nice to look at, but there were somebody did look up the highest and lowest values, and I mean, it's great examples, because the two 100 difficulty ratings are not that hard at all, but they're rated 100 because nobody's found them. Mm. And nobody's qualified and nobody's found. So, for example, one of the 100 ratings is this DOA San Juan County, which is a 2 difficulty, but it's 100 in the little square in the corners, 100 skull and crossbones, but it's not that hard. It's just that nobody's found it, and there's been 7
nobody's qualified for it. Yeah.
So as soon as somebody actually finds it, it drops from 100.
It'll drop real quick.
So was that number above the skull and crossbones always there, or is that new too because of this grid that was created?
That's been there for a while, yeah.
Okay, I guess I never noticed it, so that was news for me as well.
It's too bad they can't like lock it in on the day that you find it. Then you can make a challenge from it.
Right.
I've commented about that before as well. Like it's kind of another discussion, but for your personal profile stats, if somehow your log kept a record of what the stats were for that cache at that time. Yeah. Because it's been more of an issue in the past, I think, but if something changes with a cache and the owner adjusts the DT, then people, can unqualify for a challenge. I think we've all had that happen where there's suddenly a hole in your grid that you've already qualified for because somebody changed it.
You can lose your fizzy as well if somebody changes it. Mm-hmm. That would be a really cool challenge if they could find a way, if there was a way to lock it in, and because I mean that's another grid to fill, right? I mean, it's a grid. We're all going to try to fill it. So,
so if you are in an area with a 100 difficulty challenge, then go find it. Although it's funny because, it won't be 100 anymore. It's like the Heisenberg uncertainty principle.
So
as soon as you find it, it's no longer there.
Let me throw this out at you. Let's say I have one down the street. 10 people have not found it, so it's 100. I go and find it and then just post my qualifications and don't use the checker. Would it still be 100?
I think it's based on checkers.
Right. So if I didn't use the checker, but I showed it, I just typed out all my qualifications.
Well, then it's not in Project G. Well, if
I would think so.
Yeah, if you automatically have your profile stats updated in Project GC, then it won't matter. It would probably automatically sense that you qualify. But if you don't do that, if you don't have that, then it has no idea whether you post a note with whatever content that says you qualify.
So you could still keep it at 100 as long as you didn't run the checker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And turn off automatic. Yeah. Because premium members,
funny.
What's one of the bonuses of being a premium member of Project GC is occasionally the system will parse your stats against the challenges, and you won't have to go through and check each one every time you go in. It can automatically update, and then
that's how that map
you can,
that shows you what you qualify for and you should go get.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can look at the map and not have to worry about checking every single cache on there. It's automatically checked. That is a premium feature. There is also one that I don't think we've discussed very much, maybe once a long time ago. This challenge signed but not yet logged is found. Jesse, you mentioned that as well, using tags in your logs. I actually just went through and fixed this myself, so I took out all of the other ones that have the little green check mark on the side. So what Project GC does is, because they take all of your find logs, your log history, they also keep track of your notes that you've posted to caches. And so they kind of do some guessing. It's not 100% guaranteed that this particular stat is perfect and accurate, but because Project GC knows which caches are challenges and which of those you've posted a note to, they're assuming that anybody who posts a note to a challenge cache is posting that they've, say, found it but not signed it, that they qualify but they haven't found it. So it's relevant to that kind of qualification. So they have this table here at the bottom of that challenges tab, which lists out basically all of the unfound challenges that you have that have a note posted to it. So occasionally, if you find a lot of challenge caches that you don't yet qualify for, you can check this list, because if your stats are automatically updated, these little red dashes on the side might turn into green check marks. And if this is one that you've logged, that you've signed into but not qualified for, now you can see if there's a green check mark there, I now qualify. You could open that cache and then log the find.
That's great.
So it's helpful in that sense. The problem is, like a lot of these, some of these that I have on this list, I might have notes for qualified but not found, because I just wanted to post my qualifiers and not have to worry about it. But that's not a signing in, so I don't want this list to treat it like that. So as you mentioned, I would add in the log description a not dash signed tag, and then Project GC would know that it's not a cache that I signed and posted a note to, and then they won't add it to that list. That's what that not dash signed for viewers is on the screen there. If you put that in your note log, then it won't show up in that list. And there's a couple of other things like Project GC tracks FTFs, your first to finds, and if you include that tag, then it'll an FTF tag, then it will automatically track that as well. So that's another benefit to Project GC, because they're looking at all of your logs.
Doing the work for you.
Lots of tools.
What if that's your name in Geocache?
Not dash signed.
No, not signed. That is actually a pretty good name. Or just FTF that tag. You'd probably mess up that stat a little bit.
Oh, wow. All
Well,
right.
they wouldn't let you use special characters, but, it'd still be pretty funny.
So we have a topic today for today's show, because it's 1 year, that we wanted to make it more about the community. We've looked back over the year to see how far things have come. We've had some guests and we've chatted about some major topics, and we still have a whole lot of stuff we can talk about. We have lots of notes, because you guys, when you send in your emails, we keep track of them, and we like to know good topics to bring up, questions and whatnot. So as a kind of a community grab bag, every month we highlight some of your accomplishments and milestones and whatnot. So we have a few that we'd like to mention as well for this month, just as a little shout out. We have a milestone from Karen Honora, who has just crossed 14,000 fines. I don't know what the average fine count is for people.
Under 100.
I don't know if that's it. Oh, right. Yeah, they're stats that they gather from.
Well, don't they say the average cashier finds like one cache a year or something? Or I don't know.
Wow, I can't.
It seems unreal.
What? You're not speaking my language.
Well, I think there's so many that it depends on how you categorize an active cashier, I guess. Or are they active? Or are they just keeping their account open or what?
Right.
Yeah. And I guess, I mean, if you might want to, it might be more interesting to have a minimum threshold, not include stats for people who are the try it out and leave it type. But say if somebody has found at least a few caches over a couple of months or something, then start tracking their stats. Because otherwise, I mean, all those 1 a year stats, they just kind of pull everything down. If you were to look at the graph, it'd be, yeah. So I don't know if you have a milestone, then post in comments as well. I know I just passed 16,000 and I'm closing in on 17,000. Although
Nice.
I am trying to get 2020 fines this year. No, 2021 this year. Last year was 2020. And one of the motivations for that is that we have a challenge cache in Ontario for 3 consecutive years of 2,000 fines.
Is this year 2 for you?
This is year 2. It was just because last year was like, oh, it's 2020. Let's find 2020 caches in 2020. And then I'm like, hey, that wasn't so bad. Let's do it again for 2021. And now I'm 2/3 of the way towards qualifying for that. Can't stop now.
And then next year, when you can leave the country, should be no big deal.
Hit up some more of those Nevada power trails.
Yeah.
Yeah, that those are the challenges that are no longer allowed as well, because yeah, if you unqualify, if you stop that streak, it's way too long to start over again.
Yeah.
It's still 365 days, right? The streak.
Yes.
Yeah, the max, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So just for fun, I looked it up. In Canada alone, there are over 500 people that have more than 11,000 caches. Cache fines. That's just in Canada. So there's a lot worldwide.
500 people over 11,000.
As a matter of fact, the number 500, the ranked 500, has 11,423.
In all of Canada? I would have thought there'd be more than that. I wonder how many of those are in Ontario.
That's actually on here too. That person, I don't know if it's a guy or girl or a team, they are from Ontario.
Yeah.
But that's on cashierstats.com.
Mm-hmm.
You can look those up everywhere. So
I feel like there should be more than 500 in all of Canada.
11,000 is a lot, though.
Maybe I'm just spoiled with Ontario because we have
years
so
to get
many
there,
power
yeah.
trails. Yeah. We have a lot of veteran cachers in Ontario.
Well, I mean, 500 people that have found more than 11,000, I'd say that's a lot of people. That's a lot of caches. You know, if you look at those milestones in FTF magazine every month, most of them are not like 10,000 and above, right? Most of them are below that.
Right. And yeah, I mean, I guess that is something that's going to be very regional, because if I think about the cachers that I know in my region, I know like a relatively large fraction of 500 who are over 10,000. So I guess a large chunk of those will probably be Ontario, probably a bunch in BC, and if we're looking at in US, probably a lot of that in the Seattle area.
I think it kind of goes without saying too that if you found more than 11,000, you're pretty active and you're going to stand out more. So than somebody that's found 7 over 15 years, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at mine. I rank 105 in Oregon with a little over 8,000 caches. And in the United States, I rank 3,389.
I
I don't know. I mean, it's all numbers. You can do what you want with it.
You know, Yeah, thinking about it, there probably is a whole lot more within that 5 to 10,000 range. I think
Oh
these
yeah.
days that almost seems a little more casual. Casual.
Casual.
Yeah.
I would say 5 to 10,000 at this point. People have been caching actively for years. Obviously, they're not 2,000 a year for 20 years, but
Right.
The top numbers are so high they're ridiculous now. So
Yeah. And actually, the that whole thing about beginner and intermediate or expert or whatever in those bands of fines kind of rolls into a question that Merlin 1392 sent in. He's said that he's planning to set up a New Year's Eve event and provide some challenges for people to complete based on their stats. And he's kind of grouping them between less than 1,000 fines and between 1,000 and 10,000 fines and over 10,000 fines.
yeah.
And based on what we were just talking about, I think that probably is a good separation of difficulties.
Well, and I know cachers that were in the game before me and are still caching now. And based on their style, they're well under 10,000. They've been in the game for 15 years. And I wouldn't call them any less active or any less educated, but that's just the style that they choose to do. They don't find they don't ever do power trails. They don't, they hike to caches. They don't do any of that other stuff. And their numbers will never be, 20,000. Yeah. So it's really style dependent, I would say.
And all that quantity of fines really indicates is that's how many caches you've found.
Right, exactly.
That doesn't necessarily mean that you're great at finding them. Yeah. Doesn't mean you're great at solving puzzles. It doesn't mean you're really great at anything specifically except finding a lot of caches or logging a lot of caches. But to follow up on that a little more, he was asking for suggestions for challenges of various difficulties that would fit within those groupings of people. Mm-hmm. And I guess the easy answer to that would be challenges based on quantity of fines.
Could be.
But like what would be something that, would you want it to be within each of those? So like easy and hard for people with under 1,000 fines, and easy and hard for people with over 10,000 fines.
Yeah, I always go back to like different types. Like, a much younger cacher is not going to be well-rounded. Just from probably the nature of their available experiences, for the number of times they've gone and tried to find a thing. So the higher the numbers, the more likely you have done a lot of different types, a lot of different, I don't know. I'll start with types. Yeah.
That works against people too, though. So if you're building challenges for a mixed group like that, so if you live in an area and you found 50,000 caches, and the challenge is to find, and I don't know if we're talking realistic challenges or not, but like 7 different cache types in a week. That can be very hard for somebody that's already cleared out the area. A brand new cacher can do that easily because they have all those to find, or find, like, I'll pose this challenge to either one of you, although I think Emily would have a little better time with this one because of where you live. Find 5 additional webcams. It would take me a while to do that. There's none within hundreds of miles of where I am.
No, even when I plan my travels, they're in any of the places I'm traveling to either. So I'd have to plan a webcam trip. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think I've got to go 500 miles for a webcam.
Wow.
And then 5 of those, that's not happening.
Yeah.
That would take me all year. It'd be a bunch of trips. So your experience can work against you. So you can definitely build those challenges based on, especially if he knows generally who's going to be there. He can build those individually for him.
Mm-hmm. And you made the good point as well, because what you were kind of describing was exactly why they added a few more guidelines post-moratorium about what challenges are allowed, because those ones basically it's sort of about unqualifying yourself, but at the same time, if you are, it's the difference between accomplishing a goal, so an accomplishment, versus a challenge. And the way I kind of looked at it was what we can no longer create as challenges are like challenging somebody to do something from this point on. because like you said, if they've already cleared out their area, they can't qualify for it anymore because they can't re-find those caches. But an accomplishment is something that, regardless of whether you started yesterday or 10 years ago, you might already qualify. The problem, the issue that I have with that is that, it's hard to, it's kind of a mix of the two. You want to create something that's difficult for everybody or a challenge for everybody, but you can't do that with an accomplishment because if you already qualify, you just need to go find and sign the log. So, yeah, there's two different types of challenges. One we can't do officially, but you can't, like the GTN 45, we can pose challenges to people from this point on, do this. And then if it's not official, then One
good solution to that too is like if you're going to do whatever it is, right? Like find 100 traditionals. Not that that's a hard challenge, but a lot of times scaling those to do like 2 or 3, like find 25, 50, 75, 100. You have 4 of those out there, then people from all levels can kind of do that. There's some challenges you put out there that it's not going to stop anybody. But you should always, if you're putting out a challenge, a group of challenges in your area, definitely scale some back where they're a lot easier and people can. I always think it's neat to build up, right? Like if I'm new to puzzles and there's one out there that says find 1,000, that may be totally something I would never look at. But if there was a series of them that said find 100, 200, 300, 400, that's going to draw me in just good enough to where I might get all the way to that 1,000.
Right. Wet your whistle, give you something to work towards, not discourage you from the start.
Yeah, little breadcrumbs, along the way.
Breadcrumbs, yeah.
Casey 11 also made a good point. If everyone told me it's much easier to complete when you're a new cacher, so I completed it during my second year of caching. Whenever there's somebody who's just starting geocaching, one of the first things I say
impart your wisdom.
Look for challenges and try to qualify for challenges when you start out because you have a wide open playing field, and those old ones are the ones that are going to be the hardest for older cachers to qualify for because they've already cleared out stuff. So if you're looking for streaks are a huge one to start off with when you're just starting out caching because you got tons of caches to find.
And they're terrible.
As an example.
So streaks are terrible. So
I think the highest streak that I've seen that I just said nope was 1,000 days. I'm like, I did 366. I'm done. That was my goal. See, that was the streak that I planned from the beginning that I was going to do 366 days and end. Because it's like you're on a streak. It's like I don't want to end the streak. I'm so close. No, but I don't want to miss tomorrow because I want to keep it going. I don't want to end it.
Yeah,
exactly. So I was like, from the beginning, I'm like, I'm going to do 366 and then I'm going to end. No cache the day before, no cache the day after, and that's it. No stress, other than completing the streak.
Yeah, I just have to give up on certain challenges. It's just not going to happen, and I can't stress about it because of where I live, how I'm cashed out, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but you never know. Still sign it, right? Because you may move. Who knows what's going to happen in the future?
Oh, man, I've said it before. So. Moving is, other than whatever the circumstances might be, for geocaching, it's the best. You start all fresh. It's wonderful.
Yep. Another community shout out to Deep Digging Mole, who has completed their 26 finds per date found within the year.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. That's what's 26 times 366.
Is that the average? Are you saying that they hit that as an average?
No. So on the
on the grid that gets colorful
on your stats, finds for each day of the year. So January 1st to December 31st, they have 26 on each of those squares. And 26 was significant because that, I believe, is when it becomes that kind of a darker green color. So there's thresholds of colors for each of the values in the grids, and 26 it becomes that first of the darker green shades. So the entire grid with 26 for each of those dates. I'm just working on 11 a day, like filling up those dates that are under 11, because it's kind of the medium dark-ish of the lighter shade.
It's one
of those shade changes. But 26, I mean, that's
a lot.
What is that?
That's almost 10,000.
Yeah, 9,500.
That's if you got it perfect, right? I only had 26 in each one, which how's that going to happen?
Oh, yeah.
include those days where you go out for high cash count days or vacation trips. Like, that's going to be a whole lot of fines.
Yeah, you got to get the 26 and turn around and leave.
So congrats to Deep Digging Mole. Man. And a lot of those, like, there are some challenges that are based on that. I mean, we still have challenges for your average. This one, yeah. So your average difficulty and average terrain. Even just keeping that number above 2 is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's impossible for me.
Because you can focus on high values, but events. And,
I go to events all the time, so there's no way I can keep that above a 2-2.
Yeah, and like GeoArts and puzzles, you might get a big divide between the difficulty and terrain, and it kind of shows your caching. But that's another reason why I like challenge caches, because it gets you to be well-rounded.
Yeah.
But the average challenges or challenges based on averages aren't allowed because, yes, you can unqualify yourself at some point. So it's not an accomplishment per se anymore. It's just trying to keep it above that point. See, for pre-moratorium challenges, here's another little tidbit of wisdom. Once you qualify for one of those pre-moratorium challenges, post a note with your qualifiers. It for one thing, it gets that kind of off your table, and there's a record of it as of that date you qualify, just in case in the future you might unqualify for it. Yeah. But even if you haven't found it and you think you might at some point in the future, document your qualifiers somewhere, whether it's a log, a note posted to the cache, or in a document something. Qualify as of that date, or document your qualifiers, because if somebody changes the DT and you don't qualify anymore.
And absolutely sign any pre-moratorium challenges you come across, no matter what. Sign those, because they can't make more of those, obviously.
Right.
So there's actually one in my state, and I think it was still active. I haven't been down there to sign it yet because it's pretty remote, but it's for DNFs, which obviously they're not going to allow now.
Right.
It's like find 100, log 100 DNFs. I would love to go down there and sign that one. It's in the middle of nowhere, so probably the only reason it hasn't gone missing yet. But that's a cool unallowed challenge.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm just going to remind people, if you want a copy of Jessie's book, make sure you post next level, the hashtag next level, in the chat to enter the draw. Can you give a brief description of the book again, Jessie, just so that people know who?
It's been a long time since I've read it, but no. So the CFO and I, which is my wife for any new people to the network, we did a book. It's been a couple years now, I think, since we've had it. It was pre this show, so it's been well over a year. Mm-hmm. But it's a book about challenges, obviously a basic idea of challenges. It's in book form. This show gives you way more in depth, obviously, because it's been coming to you for a year. It's some of our stories, how we got into challenges, and then just kind of really breaks the ice of what challenges are in the world of challenges, and how it's, plug in my own book, but how it's kind of the game within the game. And that's how we view it, and how it can really, people listening to this podcast obviously already probably have an interest in challenges, but can really kind of spark that interest. And we've had many people tell us, obviously there's stuff hidden in the book and everything else. It's a geocaching book, right? You got to hide stuff in it. We've had very many people positive emails and feedback saying, kind of wasn't a challenge person. I started reading this. I kind of got excited. And I know a lot of them listen to this show too. So it's really get you excited about challenges, because it's really what not saved the game for us, but really made us really love the game. So, and of course there's some funny stories in there too, and some hidden stuff. So all about challenges, get you started, and then you'll have to keep listening to this show every single time, right? To learn more and more.
And tell us what you've done. That's one of my favorite parts of this show.
Yeah, that's the best part about challenges. You get to brag about them.
Yeah.
Tell people what you've done, right? It's
and the stories
doesn't even count if you don't put it on social media anymore. I don't think
that's right.
Counts.
That's right.
I think they take
the stories away. And the stories and the experiences are what make it interesting and fun, because we don't want to make the game just about numbers and statistics, because that can affect other people, can affect the quality of the game. So we like to encourage people to enjoy challenges for the kind of experiences that they provide, for pushing yourself to a little bit of a higher limit, accomplishing more, that sort of thing. It's not about the numbers. It's about the numbers, but it's not about the numbers.
Yeah, it's funny from
The
a
numbers
stats
get us
guy.
other things.
But one thing I will say about the book too, like if you already have it and you win it, I've used it several times. I've used this book because we've had them for a long time now. When I hear somebody talk about challenges at an event, I'll run to the car and get them a book and say, if you're kind of interested in it, well, here, take this, read this, and tell me what you think. And when you're done with it, pass it on to somebody else.
Right.
Right. And I've had it passed around and stuff like that, and people get excited about it. And I know when people read the book because of what's hidden in there, I know when they've read the book. So I get, emails. And for those of you who haven't read it, you'll know if you read it. But there's things in there, and they're like, I found this or that. And it's always funny because you get some really interaction is what's the best part, right? And you get people's stories and everything else. That's the best part of caching, in my opinion. So,
yeah.
Thought this was kind of neat. Eric said there used to be a challenge here to not find a cache for 100 days. I never signed it because I knew I would never qualify until after I died.
I am qualified for that one. Not finding a cache for 100 days. Yeah.
Yeah, I think people who set up their account years before they actually got into geocaching, they qualify.
Yeah. I think mine was 619 days was my longest streak of no finding caches.
Wow.
Yeah, and that is a challenge that is no longer allowed.
You signed up and got started and paused?
No, well, we found one, and then in 2009, and we didn't find another one until 2011. So, number two is there's a big gap between number one and number two, but
that's great.
Well, I think we should get moving to our fun games and giveaways because we've got a couple to do. And because this is a special episode, we're going to do the Wheel of Challenges, but we're going to keep going until somebody wins.
That's right.
Case.
Gotta have a winner tonight.
So let's load up the wheel, which has been updated. It is now season 2. Ooh, the green glowy stars. And there are some new challenges on the wheel. Only some of the ones that you've already seen. So at this point now, all but 2 are still unknown because they haven't been hit. So 1 live viewer each month is selected to face off against the wheel. Have a chance to win the grand prize, which is a 1-year membership on Project GC. To enter, send an email with the subject containing "spin me" in quotes, followed by your geocaching username in brackets, and answer the following question. The first verified user gets the wheel. Your profile will be checked live on Project GC, and if you qualify, you will win. And so, get your email app open, or your computer, or whatever. And here is your question. If you were listening. Wait, what? Never mind. There we go. What is the name of the new Geocache Talk Network challenge? Short or long form is fine. Hopefully, if you were listening, this shouldn't be a hard one to get. And we'll see who gets it first.
I know every time y'all do this, I immediately check to see if I'm qualified. I don't know why.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm not in the drawing.
Oh, no.
I can't do it.
I'm behind the scenes here.
There's something I immediately have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the fun thing about this wheel, we were kind of surprised that, if I recall the stats, the one challenge that had the most hits was a 5 difficulty, and it was the challenge of the century to find 100 unknown caches. And it was a 5 difficulty.
Yeah.
Now there's a 5 difficulty that is a true 5 difficulty.
Right.
Although
we'll see what it is when we finally land.
Somebody who's only found 20 caches and there's only 70 around them, it could still be a 5 difficulty to find 100 unknowns, but generally speaking.
It depending on where you are in the world, it could be very different.
Yes. So we have our first person who has sent in the correct answer, which is GTN45, and that is Peachy1276. Peachy1276.
I know that person.
Let's see what the wheel will give you. It looks like, is it going to be 3.5 Ooh, GC2E.
How appropriate.
1WW. The Streak Challenge. Let's see what that one is.
That looks like such a long GC code. I think it's the W's.
So this is Streak Challenge. It is 3.5 difficulty in Texas, in Bexar County. And it was published in 2010, pre-moratorium.
Yeah.
The challenge for this one.
I know these people.
Who hit it?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
They used to live in Colorado.
So in order to qualify to log this Streak Challenge, you must find at least one cache for one per day for 100 consecutive days. So it's a 100-day streak challenge. And so here they're saying the DT is of the container is about a 1.5. And good, they listed the terrain the same as a 1.5 terrain. That's one of the issues that, in the pre-moratorium challenge caches, the DT rating, especially those 5.5 challenges,
Yeah.
they were rated more for the challenge when they could be a lamppost, an actual 1.1.
Yeah.
I think now the trend is to keep the terrain rated to the actual container and only put the difficulty for the challenge, which makes a little more sense.
Unless you hide it really hard, then it messes people up.
Yeah. You should say the difficulty should be rated for the container and the challenge combined. Basically, whatever it takes in order to qualify.
Right.
All right, yeah, to assign it. So PG1276 using the Project GC checker.
I'm going to gamble that she is qualified. Yep.
She is qualified. Woo-hoo.
Congrats.
Yeah. So that means that you have won a full year of Project GC membership. The one other point that I kind of sped right over, if you notice, always mention this every time as well. This is a pre-moratorium checker, or a challenge, so there is no checker in the description. But if you have the Project GC browser plugin, one of the benefits to that is they have a little section on the sidebar that shows challenge checkers that have been created that are connected and tagged to this particular GC. So somebody, since checkers came around, has created a checker for this particular challenge, and so there is a checker, and that's what we used.
I have to say, I love that there's people out there that geocaching is so ingrained in who we are and what we do for fun, that people just go around making checkers for old challenges because we can't not do that. So God bless those people.
Yes.
Yeah. So we also like to highlight a bunch of challenges that you, the community, send in to us that you have qualified for and signed during the past month. And a little bonus to that is a random submitter wins one of our special Challenge Talk Geocoins.
Very cool coin.
Yes, very cool coin.
One of the whole set. And there's every podcast in the Geocache Talk Network has one. And if you are the random winner of somebody who submits your accomplishments, your challenge caching accomplishments for each month, then you'll receive one. So first of all, let's move on to the first highlight, which is submitted by Bloody Cool. It is GC8X0WH. It is Climb Up. One climb with climbing equipment challenge.
Cool.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
3.5 difficulty. You just have to find a cache with one climbing equipment challenge. And personally, I like this one because, it's tree climbing. Excuse me. But it's also just find one cache. You gotta just find one cache with that equipment. Now, this also raises the good point that, yes, obviously you can have a group and everybody can go, one person can climb and everybody can log it. And
log my name.
Everybody qualifies. But this is why we like to emphasize, enjoy the challenges and do them because, with this one, you could be cheap and you could qualify easily by getting somebody who has equipment and get them to do all the work. And then you can log it found and then qualify. But where is the fun in that?
Yeah, if you're going to cheat, there's no point.
Yeah.
If I saw this and I knew that somebody in my area had tree climbing equipment, arborist gear, I would totally ask if they would come along, because if I don't have it, then they have it, got to partner up. But if they'd be willing to allow me to have that experience, to do that climb.
Oh yeah, I
If they
would
have to
want
do
the
any-
experience.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, great example of the kind of cache that should hopefully get you trying new things.
And that's a good one too. That's scalable, right? So if you had that one right down the road, you could have one for Find 5 with climbing equipment. Kind of get people going and do more and more.
Yeah, like a bronze, silver, gold.
Yeah.
And this one actually is part of a series. Bloody cool. Sent in a couple of others. There's one with 3 with another attribute and 5 with another attribute. I think they're all related to climbing. But those ones, I don't think they're easier or harder. It's just more common. I mean, caches that require climbing equipment are pretty rare, so one makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've ever seen one.
Yeah. I think one of them was either 6 or 10 caches with a tree climbing attribute, which, at least in my area, is really easy. But in some places it might not be.
Really depends on where you are.
Yeah. So next up, we have one from Geocache, who has sent in GC3MBC5, and that is the well-traveled and aged Cashier in Northern Territory, Darwin, Australia. And this cache, you have to... there's a nice twist on this one. I like this one. So this is another one where you've got to find caches in distance bands from your home location.
Okay.
But it's one for each year of your age.
Of your age?
Of your age. So if you're younger, it's easier to qualify. If you're older, it's harder.
Wow.
And they said, let's make it 650 kilometer maximum for veterans. So you have to be at least 18. So it's 180 kilometers. Basically any bands from 180 to 650 kilometers, depending on your age. 10 kilometers for every year of your age. That was a twist I had not seen before. I wonder if this was 2012 pre-moratorium. So this could be. I wonder if you could publish something like that today.
I can't
I
even
feel
imagine.
like you wouldn't be able to. Because you could throw in age, because that might become that might fall under user-defined region clause.
It doesn't even the playing field.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was a really fascinating twist.
For sure.
That is an interesting twist to a challenge.
And you got to be honest on your age. Some people aren't into that.
I think that's why 650 kilometers max,
right?
Which is 65. If you're older 65, then we won't ask you your age.
So you just have your nephew go sign it. That's like 4. And then you're good to go.
Next up, we have one sent in from Star Cashier. It is GC4APAF. And that one is the Well-Traveled Cashier Challenge. And in that cache, you have to find... This is the original basic one. To find one cache in every 5-mile interval for up to a distance of 500 miles. That's a lot more than 650 kilometers. And that's 5-mile intervals, so it's a lot more caches to find than the other one. But, I mean, this is fairly common. And it's from your home coordinate. Oh, the other point to Kitty Caches there was that it was distance bands from the cache placed closest to your home, not your home coordinates.
Wow, so that's
minor difference.
Yeah.
Because the most common version was your home coordinates, because you can provide that on your profile, which is kept private. But the issue now is that, people could potentially still backtrace that and figure out your home and all that. So, so this one is, again, a pre-moratorium 2013 and 5-mile bands up to 500 miles from your home coordinates. So that's another good one that you can do for personal challenges. It gets you out there, it gets you traveling, because there's variants now where the 360-degree challenges from a posted cache location, and they if I recall, they don't allow those from your home coordinates because, well, for one thing, those bands will point directly to your home location.
Mm-hmm.
But these kind of accomplishments from a center point are fun to do, and they get you definitely traveling either outward or around. So something to look forward to, or look to try to complete as well. We have another one in from the Twonky, and this one, there's I'm not sure what the most is for this, but it is GC78KR5, and it is 50,000 favorite points. And the only reason why this stood out is because 50,000 sounds like a lot. To qualify, you have to find your top 10 caches found have to have 50,000 favorite points total. And I know there's quite a number of challenge caches to find a total number of favorite points.
Right.
And I can't recall offhand, but I believe 50,000 is really high up there. I mean, that's an average of 5,000 favorite points on your top 10 finds.
Per cache.
It's high unless you've been to head or Germany.
Yeah, headquarters is high up. And there are a handful of caches that are very, very popular in North America. But an average of 5,000 for the top 10. That feels like it's high, at least especially for casual cachers. For travelers and vacationers and people who target those types of caches, it's probably a lot easier. You know what, I'm going to check my stats just quickly because
I'm just checking mine too.
I feel like I know I qualify.
Yeah.
Nope, it's going to be on the Project GC stats. Because we've got Niagara Falls has a handful just within that area that already have that many favorite points.
Headquarters has less than 5,000.
Oh yeah.
But not much less. It's 4941.
Where most favorite points. There we go. Yeah. So. Oh, I thought I qualified for that. I guess I don't. Yeah, because HQ has just under 5,000. Original Stash Plaque has 4,000. GC8 Neat is already third place with 37.
Nice.
That's the new locationless cache for doing a CETO anywhere. Already has almost 4,000 favorite points.
It took me 30 caches to get it.
Wow.
So that's including headquarters, the original Stash Plaque, locationless cache, Mingo. Like if they're in the top, you already know the names to them, right?
Oh wow, I qualify. I didn't expect that.
Oh look, the other locationless is up there too. It's at 1448 already.
Okay, so yeah, and I do qualify.
I don't have either of those.
Let's read the
location
details.
lists.
I think. Oh, it might just be.
Wait a minute.
Oh, okay. I didn't read the details. So you have to have a total of 50,000 favorite points of all your finds, but they're only checking, or you only need to supply the first 10 caches.
Oh, okay.
Please document the checker results with the first 10 caches in your log or as a screenshot. So, yes, you just have to have a total of over 50,000 favorite points.
Okay.
That's
okay,
kind of
that
neat.
makes sense. Because mine's saying I qualify on 29 caches to get there.
Look at that. That's kind of a neat, odd stat too, right? How many caches does it take to get you to 50,000 points?
I do like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm at 27. So 27 of the top 27 caches total 50,000.
The good thing is you just sign it and wait, and as they get more favorite points, it'll go up.
Yeah.
This is an accomplishment challenge. Eventually you'll get there. Unless people remove favorite points. That's a different topic.
Who would do that?
Yeah. I do that if it's archived.
Yeah, you're going to get off into a different show now.
This will be a debate topic.
But I'm not removing it from like any amazing caches, in my opinion. like one that needs it to live on forever, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's get on to our number 5, our 5th one. This one is sent in from Zippertiff. It is GC8VFAV, the 7 days a week challenge on Monday. And it is in France. It is a 2 difficulty, and it is not in English. But I was told it is to find 150 caches on a Monday, and there isn't a checker.
Yeah.
I don't see a checker for this. This was published. No, it was 2000. No, there has to be a checker. It is linked. There's no link. Oh. 8F. Uh-oh. That's not the GC code. I typoed the GC code. Okay, let me quickly double check. It was sent in from Zippertiff, and
She said it's supposed to be in Pasadena, Texas, by the way.
Okay.
Not France.
Not France. Where's the email? If somebody has the actual code for that, then we'll drop it in. But let me quickly check.
I bet we can find it.
I'm scanning. Oh yeah, you could probably just copy and paste the name. Here's another GC. That or Google Foo. If anybody is curious, you can find.
I'll go to her profile and try that way.
What is Google Foo?
Knowing how to use quirks and little hidden
7 days a week challenge is GC 8WFC3. I went the old school way. I went to her profile and just checked the caches she's found. Huh. That's for that's Wednesday.
There you go.
That's the Wednesday one. Hold on, I'm sorry. One more time. GC8WFAV.
8WF. So it's a W instead of a V. That's what it is.
Yeah, WFAV. Because she's found more than one of them. She's found, it looks like several of them. So.
Yeah. Good. So, as you can tell, there are numerous ways to find what you need to find.
Right.
And we will frantically display that.
Hey, you can. There's all kinds of data out there. You can get to it many different ways.
So, to qualify for this one, you have to find 150 caches on Monday. And this day of week challenge, this concept is relatively new as well. I think there was some decision at HQ that said we'll allow day of week requirements. And so now I know we've got a whole bunch of those in my area. I published a couple already myself, a couple of weekday challenges. So 150 finds, because we have some cachers who almost live every day geocaching. So their numbers are through the roof in the middle of the week when everybody usually works. So we've got some challenges that are like, find a couple hundred of this attribute on a Thursday. I'm like, who does that?
Yeah. Throw in on a Thursday. Yeah, that'll make that hard.
But the nice thing about those is that you can plan for them, because if you take a day off, you can say, I'm going to take a day off on this day and then go and target those caches. And if you miss
Monday
it,
caches.
it's just every week.
Yeah.
Yep. So every week you can come back to it. So another little thing to highlight about challenge caches. So thank you to everybody who has sent in their qualifications for this past month. We got a whole bunch, and we have chosen a random winner. And that random winner, well, we haven't chosen a random winner. We have luck has chosen a random winner. And that monthly cache winner is Star Cashier. Congratulations. We will be in touch so that we can get information to send you that very special Challenge Talk Geocoin.
Yeah, congrats.
So just another quick update. Every month, I like to highlight my my own Ironman Bingo challenge, which is pre-moratorium challenge to a challenge of challenges, as it were. It is GC3D5EB, the Iron Man Bingo Challenge, where every square on the grid is a mini streak challenge for attributes or properties of caches. The center square is 100 consecutive days of caching, and always like to highlight the fact that there are a couple cachers who completed this entire grid with unbelievable planning to, within 100 days, complete all of these squares. Because a lot of these properties can overlap. So you could overlay 10 days of virtual caches with 3 days of over 10-kilometer hikes if there are caches that have both of those properties. So they managed to somehow, with so many queries, they created an Excel spreadsheet with columns of all of these squares and requirements, and then aligned them to optimize everything within that 100-day streak. And they figured out which caches. It was just unbelievable. But I like to highlight this because I haven't completed myself yet. But I provide a little bit of motivation because I'm working on a geocoin. I am working on a design, and the intent is to have it minted this year, that people who complete, well, for local caches at least, who sign in, there are certain shapes on the grid that will earn you the geocoin. But I'm presenting this challenge to you, to the challenging community. If you want to complete or qualify for this challenge, if you complete the full grid, you don't have to find the cache and sign in. But if you can prove that you've completed the full bingo grid, then I will send you one of those geocoins as well. And this month, there haven't been any updates, not since May 1st. So people are still working on it. Hopefully there's some motivation. I know I've got to motivate myself to do this one.
Yes, you do. People are waiting for you.
This is, again, another one that is going to be harder for veterans because this is a challenge, like a real challenge, not an accomplishment one. These are streaks. So if you've already found all of the scuba caches in your state or country or whatever, you may be out of luck. So hopefully those options are still there. At least you can still kind of encourage people to place more caches that you might need. I know that's another thing that's dissuaded from HQ, because challenges shouldn't get people to place caches just to qualify for challenges. But hopefully, if you are working on this and you really want to qualify, you can encourage somebody to place a good quality cache that would be a qualifier for some of these squares. Yeah. So
cool. Well, let's give away Jessie's book.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's right. Cannot forget about that. And why? Oh, you know what? What? I started the giveaway collecting and it didn't collect it. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Oh, good.
That's weird. It didn't collect them at first, but now they do. Okay. Let's get this on here. It was showing 0 until I refreshed. That was weird. And there we go. On screen, next level, we have entries and who is going to be the winner. Ticky, 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 ticky. This isn't a wheel. I don't need a tick. we need noisemakers for when the... Yay! KC11. KC_11 is the winner. Congratulations. Is there sound? There needs to be sound on this.
There should be. That needs a huge explosion.
That's right.
Yeah.
Big, crazy, and it needs to tick off too, like you said.
Yeah.
See, I'm kind of hoping that eventually they'll add the actual chat comment, because then you could do things like trivia questions, hashtag to enter with the answer, and then
yeah, that would be fun.
So, but that hasn't happened yet. Anyway, congratulations to all of the winners, Starcasher and KC11 and Peachy 1276. You guys are awesome, and thank you everybody in chat for being a part of this 1 year celebration. We're 1 year old, 13 months old.
Yeah, and thanks to everyone who sent us in some great content this year. We love your questions. We love your topics. We love your challenge reports. I know it really gets me some great ideas, great motivations to hear what other people are up to.
Well, congratulations to you two for making it a year so far.
Thank you.
Your very first year ticked down. So
Yeah.
Yep. It's a lot of work just for one show. I have to give props to everybody else in the network who do weekly shows. It's a whole lot of work to put stuff like this together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, and thank you, Jessie, for joining us again. I know you're part of the network, but coming here and because you've got the challenge caching book, it's completely relevant, and so we still love to hear your insight and knowledge.
And I'm always happy. I love your show, so I'm always happy to do anything I can. Usually I just stay behind the scenes, but I'm always happy to join in anytime you'll allow me.
All right. Great.
Yep. Awesome. So the next show coming up will be August 5th, always the first Thursday of each month. And so join us for that episode, and we'll see what we talk about then, because it's geocache talk. We talk about geocaching and challenge caching within geocaching. So again, thanks everybody for joining. And if there is no other thoughts, we will say have a great month, happy caching, and do those challenges, because it's not about the numbers. It's challenge accepted. Challenge accepted. We got to work on those T-shirts. We got to get one of those T-shirts. I'm sure I have one coming.
More than
but
this
I don't
T-shirt?
have it yet. Yeah, I don't have it yet. There's so much mail coming from the U.S. that I'm waiting for that has not yet arrived.
Oh yeah.
One already got lost in the. Oh man. I don't know what's going on with the world.
Someday.
Okay, anyway. Thanks, everybody, and we will see you next month.
Good night.
Yeah.
If you have not become a patron of the Geocache Talk Network, what are you waiting for? Patron levels start as low as a Bison Tube level at $3 a month. To sign up is easy. Simply go to the Geocache Talk website and click on the Become a Patron button, or go to patreon.com/Geocache Talk. Patrons now get the famous Blackout coin, invites to special events, and other really great items throughout the year. Become a patron today. Have you subscribed to FTF Magazine yet? FTF Magazine is the #1 geocaching magazine available. It is a quarterly magazine that you can be part of. Submit your geocaching milestones and adventures to be published. FTF Magazine is also interactive with puzzles to solve and the hunt to find Spartacus. If you can solve the puzzle or find Spartacus, then you will be entered in to win a special pack tag. Every new subscription, you will receive a special swag pack. Subscribing is easy. Just visit FTF's website, ftfgeo.com. Don't miss out and subscribe today.